Hello, hello, class. Welcome to week 2 here of OP200. We're rocking and rolling. Already a third way into the class, so let's keep those wheels a turning. All right, we want to make sure that we, start off strong and so we can finish strong. All right. Before I hop into anything regarding week 2, I just want to put it out there. Does anybody have, Rob, do you have any questions regarding any of the material that was covered in week 1, anything that you want clarity on, or have any questions that I can address?
No, but I'm going to redo the assignment.
You just need to just a little bit on both of those two, and that one you just need. Like I said, you're and this is actually a great talking point. So when we're evaluating POS systems, right? As you go through, you might find one that you realize, hey, this isn't good. It's not going to be good enough. So then keep searching for another one. And think about that. Like I like to think about this as a way of thinking that you were going to sell. Say you had say your boss or an investor or somebody said, hey, I want you to do me, a favor and look up some POS systems. You've got experience. You're running the show. What do you think would be good, right? So that's how then you would come and say, okay, I think this one has X, Y, and Z to offer. This one's going to be beneficial on this. This one would be there. And then because this week, what we're going to do is actually compare and contrast to them. So you're setting yourself up for that success, and you're going to do deeper analysis on this week's assignment. And anybody who submits, remember, you've got until, if you haven't submitted yet, you need to submit your week 1 assignment by tonight at 11:59 p.m. CST. All right. After that, it remains a 0 unless you contact me for a makeup assignment, and that is okay. But we want to make sure that we're getting that in, because without week 1, you can't really complete week 2. So you're going to want to do it. All right. The time's ticking. For resubmissions for week 1, just like you all have been had in this program and previous programs, that you have until Tuesday to make any resubmissions. So feel free to resubmit for an upgraded grade, and you'll be all set on that. All righty, so let us hop in. I also have a really cool new app that I just read about that I'm going to show with you guys right now because I thought it was really cool. I'm going to send out the link after class, but I do want to show it because it's talking about, we're talking about technology here, right? And yes, we're going to dive into software today, but this was really cool. It just popped up 2 days ago in my my email feed because I love getting updates and staying in the loop. Let me show you this. It's called Nye, and it started off in Boulder. Right now, it's only located in Boulder, Colorado area, but it's a way to connect restaurants and people literally living right here. Okay, the theory behind this app and startup was that you might have, so Instagram, TikTok's huge for getting likes, getting exposure, but we're not necessarily always seeing a direct correlation. You might get 16,000 likes on a video and not had any increase in sales, right? That's what they're showing. That's what we're seeing across the board. Now, the idea with this app is that you are going to go in, these deals would only be available to within a certain area, okay? So not only does it bring back the idea of community, it's literally only offered for people's within the region. And as the time, it might be only offered for a very select amount of time. So let's say notoriously Tuesdays from 4 to 7 p.m. are just dead, okay? And you want to get business in. So maybe you're going to launch a special on this app, all right? And it's going to be for 3 hours. So really, it's only for somebody that can actually get to that place within 3 hours. So it's hyper local. It might be a pop-up. It might be, hey, come get a free X, Y, and Z, or try our new ABC, whatever it is, okay? So it's really about connecting everybody. And they have seen so far massive increase of sales. So I'll send this out. So here we go, right? It's an app that surprises with new ways to experience and support your local community. Especially with the, after the pandemic, people are staying closer to home. They're not going out as much. So it's really about getting this. So depending upon this, the technology allows it only to be shared with people that are close enough to make it on time and can book these spots. All right. So it's a, we talk about demographics, right? We talk about advertising. Think about how do you get your sales? You can publish something on Instagram or TikTok or the web and the whole world can see it. But this is really focused on your potential customers. So it is so far, we're seeing some, they're seeing some good success and pretty cool. Like I said, right now it's only available in Boulder, Colorado. I'll send this out. But it just, you can click around, check it out, see what else it is. But it's all about, they're a small team, they're starting up, they're not going to expand until they have the capabilities to do so. But I think it's pretty cool. It's starting local, and it's starting thinking about, this is what it is, right? Supporting local, locally loved, locally owned. This is what people keep going for, right? And these are, so let's just take a look. This is a recent local drop. I don't know if we can actually click on it, but it looks like, these are some, events. Maybe it's a buy one, I think I saw one, it was like, oh, this is pizza pie pizza. And it's like, get 2 slices and a drink for $5. So people are running in. And tons of different, I think they also have sporting events and things like that, but it's all about local community. So I thought, since it's technology, and we're a tech-based class, a tech-based school, I wanted to share that with you. I will send it out later today. I think that it's just really great that we have innovators out there thinking about there's, how do we fill this gap, or let's say, think about this. Maybe you ran a special, right? And for whatever reason, it didn't move. Okay. It just didn't, it didn't move. Maybe there ended up being like a rainstorm, weather, and it botched the whole plan, right? Well, boom, now you've got like a ton of pulled pork for this awesome pizza that you're gonna do, right? A pulled pork pizza, and you got to sell that, because otherwise you're going to have a ton of pulled pork that's just not going to move, right? So you throw a special on this app, all of a sudden, boom, okay? Maybe you're not going to make the same that you were going to make, maybe at full price, maybe you're offering a little bit of a discount, right? But guess what? Offering that discount and moving that inventory and product and getting that sold is a heck of a lot better than not moving any of that product, all right? You're still going to be more than breaking even on those, most likely, all right? So this not only combats, dead times in restaurants, but also helps, I think what the coolest thing for me is, I think about how this can help reduce waste, all right? Maybe, we know that you've got a certain time limit on certain dishes, right? Now, you want to put a special on that. You're like, the chicken piccata wasn't moving. Well, we're going to do a 2-for-1 chicken piccata, or, a chicken piccata and you get a salad for free, or, a half portion of a glass, or a free beverage, whatever it is. But you're moving that product that was going to just be sitting there and either being turned into a staff meal, or, hopefully not, but dumped. Okay. So we're kind of tackling multiple problems, and that's what technology can do. Now let's start thinking about, you guys, I want to pull this back into the POS systems. Some of you all mentioned different POS systems that have the ability to merge with other apps, right? We talked about Resi, or DoorDash, or Grubhub. Who knows? Maybe in the future, this NI is going to be a big thing, and you're going to want to be able to incorporate that in with a POS system. Who knows? The technology, we don't know. I'm not a tech. I'm not a, I'm not a tech expert. But I think that there's potential for that integration of different platforms with your current POS system, right? And what do we want from those POS systems? We want data, right? As we were talking about last week, that data, which then we can help. Oh, okay. Also, this technique worked. This one didn't. Oh, we managed to get a bunch of people in for this, for a special. Or we're seeing that, the thing I love about the POS systems is tracking that inventory, checking sales, right? Hey, guess what? Maybe you realize this one item, for whatever reason, the birria tacos are just not moving. Maybe it's not the right season for it, even though it was a really hit on social media. they're not moving in our demographics. You're going to get that information from certain POS systems, right? And so then you might look at your inventory and say, hey, where's our cross utilization of these ingredients? Maybe we need to take this birria taco off because we're really not using this cut of meat in any other dish. So we need to go. So it's a way to evaluate and, again, streamline, increase profits. All in all, technology is usually, right? Often, I can't say always, but created with the intent of improving things, okay? Sometimes it's a failure and sometimes it's a great success, okay? Sometimes it might start off not working well, and then later on, 10 years down the road, boom, it's popping, okay? And we don't really know. So that's why it's always really good to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on tech-wise. I know, Rob, you brought up a great example about, what happens if there's an internet outage and being offline, and if your employees don't know how to do, write a dupe or call things or write a ticket out, right? And taking things, making sure everything's correctly labeled and sent to the kitchen. So you want to also think about when technology fails. Is there a backpack? Is there a backup? Do you have training for your staff, not only with the tech, but also reality of, hey, this goes down, we need to figure out how to do this. Otherwise, what, does the restaurant shut down? No. This is what I've talked about. If you've ever been, I know, Rob, you have, in any of my culinary classes, I don't let you use, if we're making an emulsification, we're not using a blender. Are you going to use a blender out in mass production? Heck yeah, you are. Okay. But what if something happens and the blender breaks and you don't know how? You're sitting there thinking, yes, I wish I would have learned how to whisk that emulsification properly, right? Because the technology, even though it's old school technology, just a blender in the wall, that's gone. That equipment is broken. How do you fix it, right? Without that back knowledge or skill set or training, you're kind of at a loss. So I think that's a kind of a cool and interesting topic to talk about, and thinking about when we're talking about staff and training, that technology isn't always the only answer, and that you need to have a backup for when things, hit the fan or shut down. How do you handle that? Just wanted to share that. I'll split that out later, and let's get on into this week's, because we're going to talk a lot about software this week. Again, like I mentioned, I don't love slides, but with this, I got to do it. Keeps me on track and makes me not miss anything, because there's so much information in these weeks. I do want to just cover right up and out of the gates. You've got your quiz this week as opposed to discussion forum. So make sure that you're knocking that out. And then I just want to go over this. I think sometimes it's good to get the homework knocked out. We'll talk about more of the bulk of the material after this. So when we get into your assignment here. Okay. So for this week's assignment, what you're going to do, those 3 POS systems that you chose in the week 1 assignment, you're going to compare the pros and cons of them. Okay. So this could be, things about like cost, right? Offline viability, integrating other platforms. Is it easy to use? Is it easy to train? What's the support system like on the back end? Okay. This is what you want to do, a real compare and contrast on this. Okay. Now, you'll use the first 4 of the 8 key factors used in choosing a system, okay? And the design systems instructions are in the document that is right here. So pull this up, right? We want to make a copy, and we are in like Flynn, right? Let's get this going. Sometimes the internet's a little slow, but here we go. So these are going to be your big takeaways. Now, first of all, you want to make sure that your final submission is between a half page and a full page, all right? Because you're going to be comparing and contrasting 3 of these different assignments. So there's enough material to fill up a minimum of a half a page. All right. So first and foremost, functionality. All right. Does the software have the features described to support the business requirements? Remember, we're talking about the bar grill, a casual bar grill, right? With potential to expand in the future. All right. So we've got that. Next, ease of use for both end users and initial setup administration, right? How long does it take to get the setup going? How much is the training? How long is the training? Do we see, and sometimes what you can also do, by the way, look up when you are doing your research on these POS systems, excuse me, I would also suggest looking up reviews. So you can often find customer reviews. Now, I'm not saying the customer reviews that they necessarily put on their website, those are a good start, but obviously a company's not going to be putting on negative reviews on their website, right? Well, this was really hard to use. No, they're going to say this was super easy and, efficient. So you can find other reviews on POS systems. Do that as a simple Google search, and you can try to glean some extra information, a real life experience from people that have been using the system. So that's kind of another way, an approach of getting a little bit more of an insight as to, is this really easy? The company, website can say one thing, but that might not be the reality, right? For certain companies, certain restaurants or establishments, it might not be the best fit for. All right. Now, number 3, we're going to be talking about performance for different functions, such as your data retrieval, getting that, and your screen display. If your screen display is confusing, let's just think about this as a front of the house staff member. You're an employee, you're taking orders, and you get to your POS system and you're trying to put in an order, and it's like, you don't have a button for this add-on. If you've ever worked and you find, oh, well, we're constantly getting requests for, no mayo, but we don't have this no mayo button. So I have to then manually type it in every time. Well, that's one of those things where that's going to slow down that server. Now there's a line behind, because you're not going to have a POS system for every single server, right? You're going to maybe have 4 to 6 depending upon, or 2 depending upon the size of your establishment. All right. But you definitely have more than that on your servers or bartender side. So now you've got somebody, you want to get that order in, but the other person's taking forever because you don't have quick buttons for modifications, right? And so everything is being typed in quickly. So your screen display is very important. Can you add personalized buttons after the fact? Okay. You've got your menu in, you've got your menu buttons, but oftentimes that takes another manager or somebody, a key holder, to go in and put in extra modifications, because you're going to be constantly getting certain specific requests. And after that, with data, right, you realize, okay, we're constantly getting gluten-free bun requests. We offer it, it's a, asterisk at the bottom of the page. It's not really highlighted, but it's there in case for those who want it. But we're getting more and more requests for that because of X, Y, and Z. We need to make sure that that screen display is letting us get there easily. And that also, you're not flipping through 100 screens to try to get the information, right? So, of course, if you're used in a customer facing situation, which we're seeing that more and more often, can you imagine where if you have, let's just say, people that are not as familiar with utilizing a screen or a POS system doing their own ordering, and then to make things worse, it's extremely complicated to navigate. Bottleneck, right? Reduce sales, frustration. I'm not going back there. I couldn't even figure out how to use the darn thing, right? Or there was a line that around the block because nobody can figure it out, so people are just waiting. So those are things that you want to think about. These are all little small pieces that really facilitate and help the ease, or can really cause a disaster. All right. So that's really what we want to think about. Screen display, not only front facing, but also, as I said, your staff too, because your staff have a direct relation to your customer experience. All right. Now, compatibility, right? How well does your solution integrate with other products? What we were just talking about. Is it going to integrate with Resi or DoorDash, okay, or other platforms, okay? Is it going to integrate with where you're getting your deliveries from, your inventory, right? Is it going to deliver it? Maybe, I forgot which. There's Starbucks, I believe they use this. I'll have to do some more research on this, but Starbucks has an app that's built in, and it might just be an app for their employees. But it's like, if you, for example, say I'm supposed to work, a shift today, and something comes up and I can't get it. Starbucks has an internal app that is only for Starbucks users, and I don't know if it's launched out to other establishments. But then I could put my shift up and say, hey, does somebody want to cover me? All right. So that would be excellent to have that integrated, because then on the schedule, the master schedule, the manager is expecting me to show up, but Rob is covering my shift, right? So this then would be able to change and modify that. Now, maybe the manager gets an alert. Hey, Rob's taken over Chef Catherine's position. Brilliant. If it's not, okay, not the end of the world, but then it's a call, it's a switch, or just, hey, I'm doing this, that, and the other. But that's something to think about, all right? How do you integrate with other products? See a question here? Yep. Schedules. Yep, exactly. Hot schedules. Yeah, that's what it's called. Thanks. Yes. Hot schedules. Pretty cool, right? Something I wish that was in play when I was, back in my early days. I would have loved that. Something came up or whatever, you can't make it, or put that shift up for when I was serving. Now I wouldn't miss a day in the kitchen, but sometimes days I'm serving, I maybe wasn't as excited sometimes, and wanted to be in a good mood, because you got to be in a good mood when you're front facing, right? And back, I could be a little bit more in myself, but this is our huge impacts, right? Maybe you're having a mental health day. You just feel like, not good. And you just are thinking, or something happened in your family and you're stressed out. Hey, put that up. See if somebody takes it. If somebody takes it, great. If not, I'll show up, whatever, right? But really valuable. So that scheduling could then be put into your POS system with schedules. Okay. Now, this also includes what you're using now and what you will be using based on your strategic direction, right? Strategic direction. Are you looking for growth? Are you looking for, maybe, sometimes when we look at growth expectations or doing another location of an establishment, sometimes it might not still be a brick and mortar. Maybe you're thinking, hey, you know what? We're getting a lot of requests for our food at concerts and festivals during the summer. And you're thinking, how do we do this? Okay, you know what? We're not going to do a brick and mortar. Let's do a food truck. We're going to be mobile and we can do this. Will that system still work with a food truck concept? Or would it work in a, maybe you want to go to a, who knows what other, a ghost kitchen. Maybe you want to have a ghost kitchen. Is that going to be able to be integrated with this? So those are things that are a little bit hypothetical, because you might not know exactly what's going to happen in the future, but you want to be thinking about those. Okay. Is it going to work for possible growth and expansion? Okay. Or whatever direction you're moving in. Next up, security. This is a big factor, right? We know we are constantly hearing issues about security breaches. What is Instagram, Facebook, and whoever knows sharing with whom? What's going on with TikTok? Who is it overseen by? Security is a big hot topic, right? And understandably so. People like their privacy. Some people don't, right? But for those that do, we want security. You're most likely putting in your credit card details. Sometimes you might actually have other information like an email. Maybe you get put on, you love this place and you want to get on their rewards list. Okay. But all of a sudden there's a security breach, and now all of your data, maybe your home address, your email is out floating to somewhere. So what's the security that's going on here? Okay. So again, this allows how easy it is to set up access control for different users, and restricting access to information. Okay. Who can see that? Maybe I can see, think about if I'm a manager at a restaurant, and I'm going to know that, my customer said, I'm a rewards member here. Okay, well, as a manager, I don't need to know where this guest lives. I don't need that. But what I do want to know is what their preferences are. Oh, hi, great to see you back, Kiki. Did you want that lemonade twister that you love? We've got a new version because it's summer, and we've got a peach lemonade twister. I think you might like it, right? Now I'm using that incentive and the information that I need, okay, that the customer's preferences, but I'm not necessarily going to have information to their email, their phone number, or their address, right? If for some reason that was provided or asked for, right? But that information is used backdoor, okay, for sending out, maybe you're going to do a old school style. I don't know if you guys, if anybody still receives this. I had to go home, and lo and behold, I had two little waiver, coupons that were sent to my parents' house. I don't know when I signed up for this, but it was for my birthday. It's like, come on in for a free milkshake. They don't have my email address. At some point, I must have given them my home address. Who knows? Probably in high school for my favorite, milkshake shop, ice cream shop. And so I got that, right? But nobody else knows that, okay? Nobody is going to be seeing that access where my address is, okay? So you want to think about that. That's how you have to restrict access and what is valuable to the guests and the employees that are interacting with us. What is necessary, okay? What's important here? The important thing is that I know their preferences. I know that what I might be able to suggest to them, or I might be able to say, hey, you know what? Your rewards, you've banked up like $15. Do you want to put that towards this, or you want to save it for the next one? So that's the information that I would have, but I would not have access to the other information. So those are the kind of the security factors that we're looking at, okay, as well. If next we go into the stability or reliability of the product as well, okay. This I think everybody can agree with this. Early versions of products often have bugs, okay? They have issues, bugs, kinks, massive issues, breakdowns, glitches in the system. And with time, you work out those kinks, right? So you do have to think about, that there's always going to be that potential risk, especially with a newly launched product. Like, you're kind of a guinea pig, maybe you get, extra help during that time. Usually that's what they do. But you want to think about that reliability of the product. Does it have longevity? Are you willing to take the risk and knowing that this is a really new product and I'm probably going to have to deal with some pain points? Or I'm going to go with this, Toast, which has been around for a little bit longer than something that was recently launched. I didn't love Toast, but overall, I know that, establishments like it and has a good, at this point, a long run behind it. Okay. So that's something you want to think about, right? Okay. And of course, and a lot of downtime, support calls, never buy 1.0 version 1.0. Well, guess what? Somebody's buying version 1.0. Sometimes some establishments might do trial runs. Even that app company that I was just talking about, the Nye, they started off really small. Okay. They went to one spot, that waffle spot, and said, hey, where are we working? And I'm sure that company was working with them saying, yeah, I'd love to be part of this beginning, this startup, this seeing where the problems are, seeing what we can do about my downtimes, seeing if we can increase sales. I'm ready to, suffer through the hiccups because I'm going to be working with you and we're really small, right? And maybe it's, maybe that person, that group isn't even paying, right? Because it's going to be a give and take for that first year of or months of development, right? So there are those things where you do want to do that version 1.0 if you're getting, if it's a give and take and a good relationship, right? Back and forth that you're giving and taking, okay? So that's something to think about. All right, next up, we've got 7, right? Prospects for long-term support of the product, okay? Starting off, the first month you get X number of calls and support. After that, you notice that the call lines are super long. You're not getting call back. You're not getting your issues resolved. Might be an issue, right? So you want to know what that potential long-term support of the product is, okay? Additionally, right, if the vendor company is small or likely to be taken over by a predator or a larger company, okay, will that product exist, okay, in 3 years' time? Will Nye exist in 3 years' time? Now, Nye, for example, that's an app, that's an add-on benefit. Nothing's necessarily, if that goes down, realistically, these companies, the restaurants that are working with them, not going to lose much. They're going to lose whatever sales they've had for moving forward, but it's not like that's integrated and that's part of their POS system. That's an extra app, that's an add-on. Okay, so kind of a different look. Okay, when we're thinking about a product that you are going to be using, we want to make sure that our restaurant's staying in operation more than 3 years down the road, right? So do we think it's going to work? What's going to happen if that company does merge or gets bought out? All right. And that happens. We see that time and time again, especially in the technology sector of, companies coming in and buying different companies. WhatsApp was started years ago by I think by 2 people who were actually like either, I can't remember the whole story about it, but I think that they either didn't get a job, they were denied a job at Facebook or something along the line. I think that's what it was, or some discrepancy between Facebook and whatever. So these two people went off, they started WhatsApp. WhatsApp, huge, right? Went like gangbusters. The whole world was loving it. We can send texts world round wide and without a fee. Okay. WhatsApp eventually got purchased by Facebook. Okay. Now, all of the functionality is still the same. It's just integrated with Facebook, Meta, whatever it's called now, and whatever it'll be called later in the future. Okay. So we're going to constantly see those things. So you have to take that with a grain of salt, but be thinking about that realistically. Technology is constantly biting and eating other companies. Uber. Let's just start with Uber. Uber's a car driving service. Now you have Uber Eats. Uber Eats competes with other delivery services now. Maybe that's going to bite another smaller, take over another smaller company. What happens when you lose, if you're a member of that smaller company and now you're absorbed by Uber Eats? Does your monthly price increase, decrease? Do you still get the same benefits? These are things that you might not know, but that you want to think about hypothetically, okay, that stuff can happen, okay? So we want to think about that. Is the company responsive in issuing patches and new features of the product, okay? Rolling out updates, okay? New features. We are in a time where people constantly want new features and new additions, or maybe it needs to integrate with different platforms. Is that company flexible? Is it malleable? Is it going to work with that? Okay. Are they also forming strategic alliances with other key vendors, which will improve the product's features, okay, and interoperability? It's a difficult word to say. Sometimes I struggle over that, but it's interoperability. All right. Meaning interoperations. Okay. Will that improve that company? Okay. Maybe there's a thing that was started by a POS, that was started by a restaurateur, but they're lacking on some of that tech knowledge. They just don't have that straight backup. So that back inside, it's a chef's mind or a front of the house manager's mind thinking, I see a problem and I want to create the solution to this, but I don't know how to do this. So I've got a great product, but I need to start making alliances or looking into other people that can help meet and launch us together. So that way we can improve together for the whole. All right. And then extensibility. All right. Will the product grow? Okay. Are the features available to accommodate your future needs? Okay. Again, sometimes we might not know exactly what the future needs are. We can speculate, we can surmise, we can have hopes for what the future is, what we want to do, and then say, do you have the capability for that if X, Y, and Z? We want to grow our establishment. We want to be a multi-state or a regional chain, okay? Not necessarily national change, but a regional change, right? Or, a statewide chain. It can vary. Do they have, if you have, for example, oftentimes you have people that are coming in, right, to do the manual hardware setup, right, not software. Well, what if that's not in the rural region that you want to go to? How will that work? I don't know if that's going to work. Can you get somebody down there? Those are things that you would be asking and looking into, okay? And then, of course, we talked about this, integrating with software from another vendor. We kind of mentioned that. And then as a rule of thumb, best if you can get single source software or use as few vendors as possible. The more you start adding in, the more chaos and the more chances for, things to go haywire. Okay. Fewer, you have more reliability than making different modules interoperate. Okay. We know that, the more you add one thing in the other, it can get a little bit complicated. So these are the things that you want to assess in this assignment. Again, just so you know, you are going to be comparing, it does, using the first 4 of the 8 factors. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 is what we're going to do, but we're going to be moving into the other ones later. So that's where you want to start. Okay. So let's hop in a little bit to what we're doing. Writing software technology requirements. All right. Dun, dun, dun. We know this, we know what the deal is there. We don't need to confident into that. But we are going to be talking about your B's. All right. Your business information systems. All right. What are these requirements? Again, it is okay if you are feeling like wow, I have never heard of these terms. I don't know what this is. That's okay, right? Technology and operations are very different, okay? And with the advancements of technology that have happened in the past 20, we can say past, really, I would say past 20 years, or 25 years, where it's just exploded exponentially, didn't grow up with computers or cell phones, and now small children are running around with their own tablets and cell phones. It's a different world, right? Advancements, improvements are happening at lightning speed. Okay, so again, don't even worry if you're feeling like you don't know this stuff. We're in school, and that's why it's here. Okay, so you want to be able to understand and distinguish between the typical stages involved in building a business information system. Okay, got to explain the purpose of each stage in that system, identify typical tangible and intangible costs, okay, and benefits associated with the introduction of information systems. Okay, applying different techniques to select the best and most appropriate option from different software and hardware and supplier alternatives. It takes a lot to do this analysis, right? Because you're thinking, well, first I need to know exactly what my business needs, okay? Where are the shortcomings? What do I need? What issues do I need to solve? Usually that's how we start looking at when we're looking for a solution. We have a problem, right? So what's the problem? Oh, we have these. We want to solve that. We're losing food. Our food costs are really high. Inventory's off. We have a really high turnover rate. Our managers are constantly leaving because we're in a college town, and that's just the nature of the beast in a college town. It's usually college age managers, and they're coming and going, and we need to be able to figure out how to, get everybody on board. So these are things that you want to think about. Okay. So acquiring and developing, what are SRSs, software requirement systems? Okay. This is basically an organization's understanding in writing, right, of a customer or potential client system requirements. Okay. System requirements. What do you need the system to handle to help operate your establishment, your business? Okay. Remember, all of this is about helping. What does your establishment need? What system are we looking for the basic minimum requirements to fill those issues that we're looking at? Okay. So, and dependencies at a particular point of time. Okay. Dependencies meaning, what are we dependent upon? Okay. This usually happens prior to any actual design or development of the work. Okay. This comes in, these are what we're looking for. This is what we want. Okay. And comes in with all of these. This is what we want to be able to do. Hypothetically, I'd like to be able to integrate my inventory with this, that, and the other, and use AI, chat, AI, whatever, artificial intelligence to then take my inventory that I have, my current inventory, integrate it with AI and create menu items. I don't know. I'm talking about crazy stuff, but pretty sure somebody's out there thinking about that already. It's probably not that crazy at all. It's actually pretty awesome idea. Think about that. You've got your inventory on hand. You're looking for new ideas. You want to add some new things in there. I want an app that can take my inventory and create new menu items and offerings, because I don't have time to do that. We're a small team and I don't have the time to devote that, but we know that our customers want new innovative products. Can we incorporate some type of AI with our inventory to see what we can do with our current groceries, with our current inventory list and supplies? Pretty cool, I think. Not necessarily my style, but I think people would love it, right? I like creating. So I don't want somebody doing that for me. But remember, there are a lot of people in restaurant establishments that don't have the passion. They aren't a chef. They're in there for business opportunities. So they might really benefit something like that, because they don't have that creative edge or deeper understanding of, oh, I can take X, Y, and Z and make this fantastic dish, right? So they might need that background help, all right? So that would be one of those things they're saying, I want this, and then looking for a system that could help them with that, and maybe it's viable, maybe it's not, all right? So this is basically a two-way insurance policy that ensures that both the client and the organization understand the other's requirements, okay? From that perspective at that time, right? Going in, I want this and that. All right, you want this? We have an understanding. Let's see what we can do. All right, that's a system requirement systems, a software requirement systems. Kind of just like any old contract or business meeting, right? Or agreement between people. hey, I need this. Can you help me find a solution for this? These are some good characteristics of SRSs. Take a look at that. I'll put this slide up on the instructor announcement section. All right. Now, what are these SRSs and how do they look, right? A well-designed SRS accomplishes 4 major goals. 1, provides feedback to the customer, right? Not the customer that's purchasing the ingredients, but the customer, right? What I'm doing, okay? If I'm the customer, I'm using this system for my establishment, my restaurant, all right? I'm the customer at that point, okay? I'm the client. I'm buying this from somebody else, okay? So it provides feedback to me, okay? This is the customer's assurance that development organization understands the issues and problems to be solved. Again, remember, it starts with the problem and we need to find solutions. All right. So does the software behavior, can it address those problems? Okay. So you have to be written in a natural language versus a formal languages so that it's easy to understand. And as well as it could potentially include charge tables, data flow diagrams, decision tables, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these different things to help make visually a better understanding of where we're going in what direction, okay, for that customer, okay. It decomposes the problem into component parts, okay. So we're taking that into specific parts, okay. Writing software requirements takes an expert, okay. You've got to have it will organize your information, places borders around the problems, okay, the specific, okay, solidifies ideas, helps break down those pain points of the problem, okay. Well, is the problem just a back of the house inventory thing? Maybe there's something else that's going on. All right, where are those sore points? What are we trying to solve? Okay, so breaking down those bigger issues into smaller problems, and so you can target those individually. Next up, we've got 2 more on that. It also serves as an input for the design specification, okay? The SRS is pretty much like the parent document, which is the first level of this is what we need and this is what we want to be able to do. This is the problem, this is what we want to solve, okay? Of course, there's going to be revisions. All right, we can do this, but let's do this. Can we do a workaround? So more and more documents will be coming in, okay? And that, it's good for that it can be modified, right? You might think that you have a problem and the solution is one, but through, researching, find out, well, actually it's a different problem. We need to be able to address that. Okay. So there will be times and changes where it modifies. All right. But it does serve as a product validation check. Okay. It also serves as your parent document for testing. Okay. Validating strategies that'll be applied to the requirements for verification. Did this actually work? Again, this is all software jargon. So don't worry if you're having any confusion with this. It's not the easiest thing. We're not talking about knife cuts and baking times, right? So now, what are some of these other requirement systems, right? Specifically, they typically are developed during the first stage of your requirement development. Okay, that's the initial development phase. Okay, information is gathered. What requirements are needed, what requirements are not needed, okay? So as you can see, we see those basic elements, which we covered, right? And then we start going in, the purpose of the software being developed, a description of the software, functionality, performance. Then we go into non-functional requirements, external interfaces, and then design constraints or limitations of the environment that the software might have. Remember, we were talking about, can you add modifiers onto menu items, right? Oh, we don't do any modifiers. We don't do add-ons. Ooh, well, I don't think I want to use you, right? Or it's going to take forever for me to get this new list in. I don't want to do that. I'm going to start looking elsewhere. All right. So after those specific specifications are written, the requirements are gathered and analyzed. Then we hop on in, oopsies, back, analyze. Okay. Next up, I'm not going to go over this because we just covered this in when I ran through the assignment, right? But again, the first 4 that we're going for, functionality, okay? Does it have the features that we need to support the business? Ease of use, front end, back end, customer facing, employee facing, ease of use. Just saying, think about you and your own personal experience. If a website is really hard to navigate, if an app is hard to navigate, Do you feel comfortable? Do you like it? Do you go back to it? Or do you search for another app that you can get the same results with functionality? And I just have to hit 2 buttons instead of 5. All right. So you want to think about that ease of use. Ease of use is probably, I think, functionality is right there. Ease of use, boom. You're going to make and break customers or employees based on ease of use. All right. Most people are like that. If it's difficult, I'd rather find one that's easier, right? Especially when it comes into tech. I want to click buttons and be done. I want to place my order and be done. I don't want to have to spend 5 to 10 minutes doing that. Otherwise, I might as well just call them. Put my order in that way. All right. So performance, we talked about that, compatibility or interoperability. And then we go into the next 4: security, stability or reliability of the product, long-term longevity of the product, prospects for long-term support. What happens if there's a merge? What will be retained, what not? Do we have long-term, that's something that you say if it was a new company, talking to that POS company. What are your long-term goals? That's what you will often see also, especially on technology websites. They're going to be constantly looking forward. We could talk about Elon Musk and SpaceX, right? I'm sure that he is talking about constantly what the next goals are, right? Future long-term planning. Okay. Technology companies are always looking to the future and beyond. So if your tech company POS system is not talking about what they plan to do in the future, I would already say probably an indicator they're not going anywhere, right? Constantly looking for innovation. That's what techies are all about. Innovation, streamlining. So you want that system to be thinking, hey, forward thinking. Hey, we want to be able to integrate with this. We want to be able to do, drone delivery. All right. For food. Okay. I know that's been talked about in the works for a long time. When is it going to start? Which company's talking about? Is it viable? Are there going to be drone crashes and French fries flying everywhere? I don't know. Probably that's why it hasn't launched yet. Okay. I don't know, or robot dogs. Have you guys seen the robot dogs doing food delivery yet? That's another, I'll send it out. I'll look it up. I saw it. It's a concept, but instead of doing human delivery, like you strap it on a robot dog and the robot dog takes your food to the house because they don't get tired. I don't know. There's crazy stuff out there, guys and gals. All right. And then of course, extensibility. Will the product grow? Can it accommodate your future needs? Okay. With your base acquisition, okay, the process of evaluating, implementing your base. Okay. So for your business information system, the methods includes, is it off the shelf, right? Purchase from a software vendor. Boom, it's ready to go. Let's go. Bespoke, built from scratch, okay? Or end user developed, right? Which means the end user is developing that. They want to have that control of that, okay? So complex and organization wide business information systems like e-business. And we keep talking about kind of e-business here as well, right? Because it's become such a huge thing. E-commerce, e-business back in the day was eBay, right? And that was like the start, or at least it was, I feel, when that was like kind of the coolest thing ever. Like you could start selling stuff, you could sell your lamp or used clothes, and that was the start of e-commerce. Okay. In my mind, probably definitely wasn't the start of it, but that's what we were looking at, right? So then you're thinking about hybrid sourcing approaches, enterprise applications, integration of different components. Okay, well, now we're going to, there's constantly upgrades, integration. Can we get this in? Can we get that in? Changes are going to be constantly happening. And then your acquisition of your business information system. Okay, plan, analyze, design, develop, implement, and maintain. Okay, you'll see that the only one here really is the only difference is the logical. You've got the initiation here. Okay, so this is fairly similar online, but initiation and then your plan and feasibility, cost versus benefit. Are you going to, is the cost too high and you're not getting enough benefits from it? Look elsewhere. You want to make sure that you're getting a bang for your buck, right? Are you going to see an improvement in sales, reduction in food costs, reduction in labor costs, happier employees because you're utilizing staff scheduling that allows staff members to kind of have a little bit more freedom. They don't necessarily have to go to the manager because maybe the manager isn't working on that day. So you could put a request in. Now staff members are happier because they have more flexibility. They can put a shift up and get covered by their coworker from another location or whatever the case, right? So you want to think about that cost and benefit, right? Are you going to benefit from this? Analyzing, of course, design, which is really just designing those graphics, the storyboard, the interface, the colors. Even though things seem very trivial, every little thing makes a difference. The font, the color, you know, time. When does the timer, if you've got X number of minutes to create this, finish this transaction, otherwise it totally blanks out. Is there a hold you can put on it? So that would be like those design factors, right? Developing and building, implementing, and then maintain. Implementing, making sure that's going in, it's getting into the system, and then maintaining that, doing upgrades, innovation, okay? Again, acquisition, your cost benefit analysis. This is where you really go into actual cost and benefit. Tangible costs, okay? A physical measure of cost can be calculated. Intangible, right? Monetary value cannot be placed on that. Like I was just saying, maybe our staff gets really, they're just happier. We can't put a cost on that. There's no cost on happiness of staff, but do we know that that's going to have a huge improvement for our customer experience, our coworkers, and overall energy and good feeling of coming into work in an establishment? Heck yeah. We can't put a price on that, but that is a huge benefit, right? Again, tangible benefits, a definite measure of improvement can be calculated, and then intangible benefits, it's really not possible to measure because we can't. So tangible and intangible, right? Tangible we can get our hands on. It's like we can, it's something real. Intangible is we can't really, you know, it's not something that we can touch and put a physical measure or quantity on that. Okay, that's the difference between tangible and intangible. And you can't, you know, some things you really can't evaluate. All right. But you can kind of guesstimate with that, right, how that will improve the overall system. All right. Again, your cost for tangible would be your software purchase cost, literally the physical cost of that, your hardware purchase cost, implementation costs, like getting that set up. Okay. Setup and training. Okay. Training costs. And then maintenance, right? We know we need maintenance. If we just let that thing run all the time, we might have issues. Intangible on the cost. New working practices, disruption during implementation. Oh, it's all chaos. Ooh, how long is that implementation going to take? Is it going to take 2 weeks? Are we going to lose out on 2 weeks of sales? Can we do that on a down period? Can we do that in a low season? How long is it going to take? What are we going to lose on that? All right. Now, and then new working practices. All right. Next, we go into the benefits, tangible and intangible. Tangible being reduction in working hours, right? Because now that computer's churning away and pumping the numbers. That manager that's already burnt out and tired can go home and get those extra few hours of sleep per week, you know, and they're just thinking, yes, thank goodness. Okay. Sales increase, better data integration, right? Who doesn't want sale increase? Okay. Reduction in inventory levels. All right. Reduction in customer complaints, right? Fewer complaints, better, happier customers, more sales, right? Intangible, improved decision-making, right? We can't really put anything on that, but that is improved decision-making because we have this information that we're gleaning from that. And now I can make a better, well-educated guess for moving decision moving forward. Broader planning horizon. So now we're kind of be able to see potentially a bigger picture. We could see maybe more opportunities. Okay. And then your information quality improvement. So the actual information that we're taking from this. All right. Next up, we've got initiating those systems and the development purpose. Okay. The viability of the system, key activities. Okay. You want to be able to analyze everything. Okay. Economics, technical, legal, scheduling considerations. Okay. Is this going to be able to actually happen? Okay. Input, idea for a new system or problem with the existing system, right? What we're talking about, you might need to make modifications or add things like that. And then your output, feasibility study and recommendations to proceed. All right. How do you move forward? All right. Next up, we go into those key characteristics for and success factors. Okay. We talked about this a little bit. Your initiation phase. All right. Your feasibility. Okay. Initiation phase, the life cycle of the SRS and coming in, the generation of the idea for a new system, assessing the feasibility. Is it even realistic that we can do this? Economically, do we have the technical components to this? Is our staff technically trained? Is it going to be over the heads of our staff? And think about an old school diner that's still writing out tickets, hasn't ever used it, because there's still places that exist like that. The waitresses and servers, waiters have been around forever. They don't want to change. Can we get this change? Is that even going to happen? Right? Operational feasibility, organization feasibility. Is this, all of these things, is this going to be realistic? Okay. Of course, your financial, the financial measures, which is huge, right? There's a large investment. Are you going to get that ROI? Okay. Return on investment. Okay. Is that going to be coming in? All right. And then a contract for the supply of the system. Okay. Next, we go into a little bit. I'm not going to spend much time on ERP because we're running out of time here. But again, ERP, right, which we've talked about, not really focusing on POS systems, but ERP systems. Okay. The three, we've got functionality, ease of use, performance, and compatibility or interoperability, which we've talked about. And so again, it's saying ERP, but we're talking about POS systems. Okay. It's just a little confusion there. This is what we're looking for. And that's where we are. Okay. So I kept it within the time frame because I know we went over last time. And I didn't want to do that to you guys again. Do you have any questions? I know there's a lot of information, and this is why I use those slides, because there's no way that I will stay on track I'll go on to so many different side stories about everything. So bear with me with the slides. Rob, you got any questions?
No, I think I'm okay.
All righty, cool. Well, class, be well, stay well, get rest, have a coffee, stay hydrated. Let's crush it out. Reach out with questions, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Be well. Bye.